Hi, everybody. This is Carol Sherwood. Thank you for joining me today at Stephen Avery, The Devil is in the Details. Today's episode, number 3, is called Lyin, Ryan. And I've got a riddle for you. Why is Lyin, Ryan lying? That's kind of fun to say. Why is Lyin, Ryan lying? Why did Ryan Hilgis lie about Teresa Halbach having damage to her vehicle and filing an insurance claim, and instead of repairing the vehicle, keeping the check, keeping the money from the insurance claim, which was found out when Kathleen Zellner came on board, was found out that that was completely untrue because she confirmed with Teresa's automobile insurance company, which is Erie Insurance, out of Wisconsin, that she found out that no claim had ever been made by Teresa for damage to her vehicle. So that puts Ryan in the lion seat. Nobody else had that story. No one else knew of any damage to Teresa's vehicle. Even in 2017, after Zellner had been on the case for a while and she's filing her first motion since she came on board in 2016 and then filed in 2017, John Dietering did follow-up interviews and Ryan was one of them, okay? So that story, finding out that that story was false, then there's also a report that you can see that Ryan says one of the family must have told him about the insurance claim being filed and her keeping the money, but he couldn't remember who. Man, there's a lot of people in this case that can't remember. When their butt's in the hot seat, they tend to forget. So now it's Ryan's turn. So why would Ryan lie? Did Ryan voluntarily make up a story for who knows what reason? Was Ryan encouraged to tell a story? That's kind of the way that I lean, and I'll tell you why. You already know that I don't believe that the car found on Avery Salvage belonged to Teresa Halbach. You already know that I believe that's a decoy RAV. Part of my belief of that being a decoy RAV is that car, wherever it came from, didn't have that light. It didn't have that signal light that was broken. I believe that light was brought in after the fact and was a prop, if you will, that is just a backup to help with the story that needed to be told to somehow explain why the light was broken. Maybe Ryan drew the short straw and he had to tell that story, because it's awfully strange that Teresa drove the car for 2.5 years and not one other person knows a speck about any damage. When you go to those 2017 follow-up interviews by John Dietering, you also find out he specifically asked every single one of these people, including Mike Halbach and Tom Pierce, and then the rest of them were friends of Teresa's, if they noticed any damage or knew of any damage, and all of them said no. There's a little bit of an oddity in Mike's, because he says, Dietering reports that Mike's going to look because he thinks he might have a video of Teresa's vehicle. Who takes a video of a vehicle that is damaged unless maybe you're going to file an insurance claim and you took the video just to show the time and date stamp? But of course, Mike couldn't find any video. That never came back up. But I also believe that that report from Dietering is just a bunch of BS so that he can back up the story to say that, oh, maybe someone else knew a little bit about damage. Mike didn't say he knew about damage. He said he thought he might have a video of Teresa's car. So if the implication is I might have a video of Teresa's car that has damage. Then he didn't say that in there. Maybe that's the way it's supposed to be taken. But Ryan Hilligus is the only person that has any knowledge whatsoever, supposedly, that that car had any damage. I personally believe that was purely a made-up story to help support the fact that that light was broken and they have to have some kind of an explanation for it. If that vehicle came, let's say that vehicle is an auction vehicle or a salvage yard vehicle, which is what I believe, it came from somewhere of that sort, then if that car came with no light, because go look online at all these auction cars. Go look at all these salvage yard cars that are being sold. There's a whole bunch of them that have a broken light or have a broken bumper or have something wrong with them or a slight damage. Some of them are super damaged, but some have small amounts of damage. And those front lights are not unusual to see damaged for a vehicle that maybe insurance wrote them off as totaled. So they're available out there. You can find tons of them on Google. And by the way, sidebar, you can also find tons of them that, guess what, they have with them that is the only key. Oh, some of them only have a valet key. Shock. So we don't know why Ryan lied, but he lied. And we know from the follow-up interviews that nobody else has any knowledge of it. And then we know that Ryan kind of distances himself from it because he says, someone in the family must have told me that. Well, the easy thing to do is point the finger and blame it on somebody else. So however that happened, isn't it funny how the damage to that light just kind of went away? So let me ask you this. Why won't they give Kathleen the light? Just a light. It's just an object. People say, well, it probably has DNA on it. Well, guess what? They didn't have any trouble taking the DNA or whatever was on that key, if there was any, and slathering some DNA on that key. They could easily have cleaned off every speck or any speck of DNA on that light and slabbed a little bit of Stephen Avery's on it. They sure could have. They could have, if they want to claim that, oh, he bumped the car when he was moving it to the spot that it was found, and he might have bumped it into something and the light popped off, and so he picked it up and threw it in the back of the car. Well, guess what? If that's the case, then it ought to have Stephen Avery's DNA on it, and that would have just been another backup. So you got to ask the question, why won't they give the light to Kathleen? I think my little pea brain thinks they won't give that light to Kathleen because they're going to find out that that light wasn't the light that goes in that vehicle. Will it lead back to a VIN number? No, it will not. But there's a serial number on that light, and that light will have come from a particular batch of serial numbers that were placed on a particular batch of RAV4s at the time that they were. And they know Kathleen Zellner is smart enough to trace that light back to at least a more narrow group of RAV4s or Toyota vehicles that light would have fit according to that serial number. And the serial number would specifically also go back to a year date in the batch of lights that it came from. If that light is found to be a serial number that is not from a batch that was used to fit 1999 RAV4s that were produced and manufactured in the Motamachi plant in Japan, where all of the 1999s were manufactured, that light style, size, everything about it may have well been used for 99 RAVs, 2000 RAVs, 2001 RAVs, 98 RAVs, who knows? But when you start narrowing down some serial numbers, you can start pinpointing a few VIN numbers that were fitted with that batch of lights. That's what I think. That's what I think. There's no reason they shouldn't give her the light. It's just a light.